Oh, I love this time of year, man, because we're getting into the hot stove part of the NFL offseason, free agency, trades, the draft, all that stuff. And, of course, the biggest question about the Vikings, and I know we'll get some comments, why keep talking about trading Kirk? Because Kirk and his tradability, which has never been higher, as well as his contract, that's going to be the biggest question mark for the Vikings this offseason. So I'm sorry we're talking about the biggest topic of this team and how it's going to affect it going forward. But now, this is our first little nugget, little amuse-bouche, little appetizer of potential trade opportunities for Kirk Cousins. And the Panthers reportedly called the Vikings about quarterback Kirk Cousins per Judd Zulgad, Score North, etc. And yes, a lot of people point out, well, no other beat reporter is chiming in on this. No Doogie, no Pelissero, no Schefter. Well, yeah, Pelissero and Schefter aren't beat reporters, but Pelissero is local, former beat reporter. That's why he's very tied in with the Vikings. But, I mean, Judd Zulgad, he was the Vikings beat reporter for many years. In fact, this is really messed up. He was the Packers beat writer for the Star Tribune for a number of years. Like, people forget that the Strib had a Packers beat writer, which is just messed up. But Judd is obviously extremely connected, and he had some thoughts. So this is from this is actually from Panthers Wire, because I don't know, they're pretty fired up because their other options are Sam Darnold. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins had his best game of the 2021 season against, you guessed it, the Carolina Panthers. Although Mike Zimmer's defense did allow Sam Darnold to march 96 yards and convert a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Other than that, the 33-year-old led his team to a 34-28 victory in Week 6, having passed for 373 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions at Bofa Stadium. And well, that might have made quite an impression on head coach Matt Rule. On Monday's edition of Purple Daily, Judd Zulgad of Score North noted that the Panthers recently inquired about the 3-time Pro Bowler who was on the final year of a 2-year, $66 million mega extension. They have gotten a call. Now, from what I've heard, it went nowhere so far. Zulgad said. But it's interesting that the phone did ring at TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill in Eagan. And on the other end of the line, the Carolina Panthers. Quarterback desperate, panicked, I'm sure. I think if Matt Rule and the Panthers don't have a successful 2022, he's probably going to get fired because that has not worked out. They cast their lot in 2021 and Sam Darnold didn't work out. And so I've heard that the Panthers, now the Vikings, supposed to say, hey, let's put a pin in that conversation. We don't plan to move him now. And the whole thing, so Sam Darnold, when the Panthers traded the Jets to get Darnold, they picked up his 5th-year option, which is fully guaranteed. This is the first year of the 2018 draft class where the 5th-year options have been fully guaranteed. So I have no interest at all in swapping Kirk Cousins for Sam Darnold. I thought that maybe he could have been salvageable, and the Jets was just an anomaly. No, last year he's not very good. So the whole Cousins for like Darnold and a 3rd, no. Absolutely not, because that doesn't really solve the Vikings salary cap issues either. Well, to a degree it does, because it takes Cousins' $35 million salary off the books, but you pick up Darnold's $18 million and change 5th-year option, so I ain't doing that. But the Panthers do have the number 6 overall pick in the draft. With Cousins set to earn a whopping guarantee $45 million in 2022, that's not technically correct. It's a $45 million cap hit, $35 million base salary, which is fully guaranteed. That's all that the Panthers will pick up. The Vikings have $10 million dead on their books. Blah. And Vikings moving into a fresh new regime, a new head coach, a pay cut for a 33-year-old surface in Minnesota ain't happening. Cousins' presumed refusal to exercise options. Why would he? It's a good point. Is what he might keep a potential trade target. Blah blah blah. But putting the pieces of the puzzle together, Kirk's demands or refusal to take a pay cut leaves me to believe the Vikings at least would have had the possibility of picking the phone back up. He added, as for now, blah, 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 blah. So Carolina does make sense. And I like that Judd pointed out, yeah, the Panthers are desperate because Matt Rule 2 years ago signed a 7-year deal. I mean, David Tepper coming in, brand new owner, and giving a college coach who, respect, Matt Rule did some great things at Temple and Baylor, but very limited NFL experience. I think he was like assistant defensive line coach for the Giants for a hot second, but it hasn't worked out. And they need to do something in year 3, otherwise he's going to get fired. Even though, let's talk about the idiocy of Tepper giving him a 7-year deal, whatever. Sam Darnold is not the guy. If they draft a quarterback at 6, they're probably going to have their pick of the QBs, because I don't think a quarterback goes in the top 5. So maybe they like Malik Willis. Maybe they like Carson Strong. Maybe they like Sam Howell, keeping him in Carolina. Maybe they like Desmond Ridder. Maybe they like Cody Pickett or Kenny Pickett. I always juxtapose Cody and Kenny Pickett. Cody Pickett, the pride of Washington from back in the day. But you're going to roll the dice with a rookie where we've said many times Kirk Cousins will give the team the best chance to win games in 2022. That goes with the Panthers too, because all things being equal, if Kirk Cousins was quarterback of the Panthers versus Sam Darnold versus rookie TBD, I think the surest bet would be Kirk Cousins winning games. And the GM and also Fisher as well as head coach Matt Rule, they may see it like that, where it's like, hey, we're going to give up a first and a future second, or a first and a third and some change, because guess what? If this doesn't pan out, we're not going to be around to be making those selections anyway. So they may go all in on Kirk Cousins and just try to get things done this year. So we'll see. Again, many stories and reports like this are going to come out. Quarterback needy teams looking at Indianapolis, looking at Tampa Bay, looking at Pittsburgh, looking at Denver, etc. It's going to happen. Look at the Browns as well. It is going to happen. And this quarterback carousel, it's going to be spinning for a while. And the Vikings, of course, could quash everything by giving Kirk Cousins a mega extension, but I don't necessarily see that happening either, because remember, Kwesi and O'Connell on 4- and 5-year deals, respectively. I mean, their legacy and this may be their only shot at their respective jobs. So are they going to hitch their wagons to a soon-to-be 34-year-old quarterback in Kirk Cousins? I don't know, especially at that price. But Kwesi, Kevin O'Connell, they need to keep all options and all channels open as things starting to get narrowed down as time goes along. But never say never on anything. But your thoughts are thoughts. Panthers reportedly called the Vikings about Kirk Jerome Ezekiel Cousins, the Tim Pot Pizza Ranch dictator. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.